And voila, we are live on the Phoenix REIA, my Facebook page, Luke's Facebook page, and his Vikings YouTube page.
Yeah.
We are here every Tuesday at 2 o'clock talking about real estate, flips, wholesale, hard money, construction, you name it. And if you want to hear us talk about something else, you can just put a comment below and we'll be happy to look at that topic. Today we're going to mainly talk about construction. We got Josh on. He's a GC, and he can't wait to do my electrical on my house for $78,000.
I will come to you for 78 grand. I will come and personally wire that place. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
So Josh is from Florida, and I'm doing a flip in Fort Lauderdale, and I was making fun of the Fort Lauderdale electricians that I got because I got a bid for $78,000, $57,000, and $52,000 on a 2,800 square foot single level home that in Phoenix I would say I would get like a $6 to $7 a foot bid for. So I mean, even call it 20 grand, right? And I just got it was unbelievable.
That's insane.
So how's the market out there?
I mean, did you meet the contractors in a Lamborghini or something? Like, what's like the norm of the area? Yeah, I mean, that just seems crazy to me.
Yeah. No, he the first guy that did the $77,000 bid, showed up in his Mercedes, and he's like, my crews are great. They're clean. They all come in Sprinter vans, and they have all the stuff on site, and you're not going to run back and forth to Home Depot or anything like that. And I'm just like, yeah, but for $78,000, like you said, you could almost remodel a home for that.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, so we are excited to have Josh on here. Josh, we met probably, what was it, five
or 6 years ago, I want to say. Probably in Phoenix, one of Brent Daniels' things, and you were.
It was in Utah.
Yeah, you were working back then.
It was the first one in Utah. But yes,
Utah, right. It was Utah.
Yeah, exactly. And so we've kept in touch since then. Kind of gone and done separate things and different things, but very similar. And so I want as a GC, and he's also just doing a ton of cool stuff in Florida. I always love watching your flips and how you post the whole process all the way through. I love it. But yeah, man, I mean, I wanted to get you on here today to kind of talk about flip secrets, what you're doing wholesaling wise, kind of how you kind of got started, size of your crew when you got started to where you're at now. And then also the big thing that I'm dying to know, that I know a lot of other people are going to be super interested in about as well, is how you are getting money back from Lowe's, by obviously taking all your business to them. Because guess what? I take all my business there and I don't get anything back. So I got to figure this out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, like you said, I'm a construction guy. I kind of stumbled into real estate. I was doing, after doing that for about 7 years for working for another company, I started my own company, did that for another 6 or 7 years, and got the real estate bug, got interested in it, and started wholesaling. Did wholesaling for a few years, and then was like, all right, as much as wholesaling money was good, I didn't feel like I was using my skill set, and I just wasn't fulfilled. You know what I mean? You kind of when you're doing what you love, it's different than just sort of doing what you're doing for money. So I mean, kind of just, it was a natural progression. I sold half of my remodeling business to my partner and went into flipping full time in 2018. And loved it. So since then, I was up in Maryland before I moved down here to Florida.
I was going to say, when we met, you were living in Maryland.
Yeah. I had to get away, man. It's so much nicer down here. So it's a lifestyle. I mean, that's the other thing, right? This is a lifestyle business. So you can do it anywhere, from anywhere, but yeah, we love it down here. So yeah, construction has always been like my go-to. It's just what my natural skill set is hands-on stuff.
For sure.
So we're flipping, not a crazy amount. We do like maybe 20 houses a year, and I've kind of not really wholesaled anything for the last few years, aside from a couple little hotels. So we got a group of 10 guys in house, and and that's what we're doing. But then and buying some rentals and stuff as well. But our main bread and butter is wholesale, as rehabbing, and then we're also doing some new construction stuff as well.
For sure. So Jeff, are you doing any construction for like any other flippers, or do you only do stuff for yourself?
No, I get asked every single week.
Yeah.
The other flippers in the area are like, "Hey, can you do one for me? Can you do this or that?" And I'm like, "Man, if I don't get to a point where I have to do that, I'm not gonna do it." I just, dealing with a customer is the whole reason I got out of that business and got into. So,
For sure.
I just, if I don't have to, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So have you seen any changes in the market in the last 6 to 8 weeks? I mean, in Phoenix, the market's changing rather rapidly. Our inventory is climbing. Your people are starting to be more realistic with offers. The bidding wars are starting to subside. Any of that going on out there? Or?
I don't think we've really felt the impact here yet, at least not a lot. Everything that we've put on the market in the last month or two has really just, in a weekend, it's gone. Over asking still kind of the way it's been for the last year or two. The only thing I'll say that we're dealing with is that stuff's just not appraising. People are just crazy high prices, and it's not appraising. And rightfully so. It probably shouldn't, but it's just, we're going to be dealing with that for a while until the new norm of what the new price is, gets there. So we're every house we're setting the new highest comp in the neighborhood, and still, under appraising. So it's, we're seeing that, but no, I'm not seeing excess inventory yet. I'm not seeing people really, I haven't been lowball yet or anything like that. I'm sure it's coming. But we're in an area that is really kind of landlocked. I mean, as far as there's just not a lot of room to go. I'm around 3 military bases. There's only so much land available, and people, especially military people, they got to have a place nearby. And so, just the competitive nature of this area is I think kind of going to keep us that way for a little bit.
Right. Yeah, Jake and I were having that conversation probably last week as well, where it's like, you start, because we are feeling it a little bit here in Arizona. Not a little bit, we're feeling it a lot now. Where it's like you're just starting to see, for the last 2 years, things were moving quick. You're getting multiple offers, and then it's just not really doing that as much anymore right now. But we were talking about how it's like, man, like these appraisals, like they're actually coming in where they're supposed to be coming in now, and it's just, it pisses you off. It's like, God, this makes too much sense right now. Come on, stop.
It's frustrating. It's like, man, why can't y'all just not do your job? It's ridiculous.
Right.
What's a little scary though is, I've seen this little bit of the tip of the top of the mountain, if you will. Let's say the guy bought the house $200,000 4 years ago, and he listed it for $400,000, and it's a slower market, and he takes $380,000, but it should have sold for $400,000. Like 6 weeks, it would have flew off the shelf. Or 8 weeks ago, it would have sold first weekend for $400,000. But it sits there for a couple weeks, and he just might be all like, "Well, I really want to just close now, or I want to sell." Yeah. Now you're going to have that 400 comp, and then you're going to have that 380 comp, which is
that's
and it's funny because people are like, I got buddies up in Maryland still, and they're like, "Oh, my house has been sitting on the market for 5 days, and I don't know what to do." I'm like, bro, listen to yourself. It's 5 days. Like, wait a minute. Like, get an offer, man. You'll get a good offer.
Yeah.
We're just spoiled.
We've been spoiled. There's no doubt about that. That's for sure.
Yeah. Anybody that started real estate, call it 2012 or later, is going to, it's going to be a whole new learning experience for them.
Yeah.
Yep. For sure.
You're in for a treat. That's for sure. So Josh, tell us some of the tips and tricks that you've got for flipping that, whether it's something that's gonna, make you get more for a house, or just anything. Like, I know you posted something God, was it yet? You posted something yesterday, or maybe a couple days ago about just like something small, but like, maybe that a lot of people that are not going to know, that aren't in construction every day don't know. So for example, a lot of the people that are going to tune into this are people who are getting into wholesaling, people that are, trying to learn about, how they can get into flipping, stuff like that. So I think you posted something, it was in the last couple of days, about just like how when you have like was it garage floors?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. So the garage floor epoxy probably
Yeah,
is what.
like something like that. Like it's a small thing, but
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we try to, we're all about kind of maximizing our dollars, but getting the most high end look without spending a ton of money. So, like what Luke, what you're referencing is like a garage floor epoxy with a flake look in it.
yeah,
Uh, it's been around forever,
for
but
sure.
really it takes a couple hours, and like a kit for a 2-car garage is maybe $160 or something. But it just takes the whole level up, right? Compared to an old oil stained garage floor, you've got what looks like a high end where somebody can imagine parking their nice,
Yeah.
R8 in there, right? So, it's that kind of thing, right? So it's taking materials and using them wisely and kind of doing the best you can. Like for us, people laugh, but we do some things that flippers would never do. So for instance, we don't spend the money on cabinets. Like most flippers will go in and they're like, yeah, we're going to spend 20 grand on cabinets, get all the highest end everything. We don't do that. We pick a pretty low grade cabinet, but it's the white shaker style everybody's looking for, and then we put nice countertops on it, and then we do a quality install, right? Same stuff with like tile. So like tile selections are another one where a lot of rehabbers really blow their budget, and they go in, they pick $10 or $15 square foot tile. It's really simple to pick cheap tile, and if it's installed properly and done creatively, it can look really high end with a $2 a square foot tile.
Well, speaking on that, like for example, so just like Subway, obviously there's a million ways you can do Subway, but most people just do Subway and they just lay it, they stack it how you normally stack it. I mean, I'm sure that's kind of what you're hitting on, is that you can do, whatever. You can do chevron, you can go, herringbone, you can go all these different ways. You can even go 2 different types of, or 2 different colors of whatever of Subway, and just stack them separately. But it gives it like a cool pop. But you're still talking about a $2 to $3 tile.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. And like, you can get creative with shower niches where, that kind of stuff where you're not spending a lot more in material, but it's more labor, but it really a high end look for not a lot more money. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So we specialize a lot of that kind of stuff. Some of the other things we do, like a lot of the stuff we do, again, sounds outrageous, but nobody knows until I tell them.
Yeah.
So like, a lot of guys, they're going to pay a painter to paint all their houses, right? We paint all of our own houses, and we spray, and don't laugh, but we spray the entire house one color. Trim, walls and ceiling, all one color. And everything is white. And so it's people sound, people are like, oh, you're not cutting in trim a different color? No.
But you're saving a ton of money too.
We save a ton of money. Like literally, so instead of paying a painter 10 grand to paint a house, we paint it ourselves with a sprayer, and it takes like 3 hours, and we can paint an entire house in 3 hours for 2 grand. And done. And then what we do is go back and we put color on the doors. So the house is all white. I mean, wall ceilings, all one color, and then we paint the doors like a gray color or something.
Well, and it's exactly what you're saying. I mean, I got a quote on painting baseboard. Painting baseboard alone, it was 2 grand. So
exactly.
you're over here painting an entire house for 2 grand, and
right.
I'm getting quotes for painting my baseboard for 2 grand.
And back to your floor epoxy, you said you have one of your guys do that with a $169 kit in 2 hours. Any epoxy guy is going to say $2 to $3 grand to paint that floor, right?
Yep. Exactly. So if you're going to hire a specialist, right, to do it, they're going to sell you on everything, and obviously they got to make their money.
Yeah.
But we've got our own, whatever in-house crew, and man, it's not a hard thing to do. It doesn't take that long, and it's not difficult. You prep the floor and do it right. It's really not, does give it a high end look for very cheap. So
For sure. So, but would you say that a big reason you're able to do all this stuff for so inexpensive though is because you're having your own crew do it?
yeah.
You know what
So
I mean? And like we have our own contractors that we use, but they work for themselves and they're subbed out. And so it's like we get like what we consider deals, because we're not paying what like an end user, an end buyer is gonna be paying for it. If I'm just Luke that lives in this house and I'm calling a contractor up saying, hey, can you come do my floors? They're gonna hit you hard. You know what I mean? Where it's like we get better deals, obviously, just because we're giving all of our contractors, 10, 15, 20 houses a year each. But it's like at the same time, I'm hearing these numbers, that you're saying, and I'm like, God, like these are still way, way cheaper than the numbers we get.
yeah, I mean, so it's now there's a different level of hassle involved in having your own crew, right? I mean, because you gotta those guys busy, keep them running, and manage them. But that's my skill set. That's what I've done for years is managing construction crews. So for us, it's not a huge deal. But the way you can look at it is like, all right, if you're paying a contractor, even if you're getting that like that investor pricing or that like repeat buyer pricing, you're still paying a contractor that pricing versus like when have your own crew, you're paying what he's paying his guys to do it, right? You're paying the actual cost, not
exactly.
overhead. There's not, nothing's inflated. And so, we definitely get, by having our own crews in house, we definitely get, pretty competitive. It's about as competitive as it can get,
Yeah, for sure.
What's your, do you have any, if I'm just doing a paint and carpet rehab, kind of just cleaning stuff up, I kind of use a $20 a foot range in Phoenix. In Florida, because I don't have the crews, it'd be, who knows what it would be, because the contractors are crazy out here in Fort Lauderdale. But do you have a ballpark of price per square foot on just, paint, carpet, clean up the kitchen, that kind of stuff? Or
I used to back before all the prices went crazy. I used to have sort of, if it's bare minimum, it's $15 a square foot. If it's a full, more like 50 a square foot or something like that. But I haven't looked at or run numbers based on that in a long time. Ever since COVID, I haven't even looked at anything like that. I do everything. I don't break it all down, number by number, but I'll kind of walk through a house and just be like, all right, we're going to throw 10 grand in the kitchen. We're going to go $3,000 in each bathroom. It's going to be $3,000 to paint the house. It's going to be, flooring is $3 a square foot, and so I kind of like add it all up that way. And it's really not super tight broken down, but I break it down for each thing rather than square foot because, prices right now are just, I guess I could rerun those numbers and see what it ends up being, but I haven't done it that way in a long time.
Right.
I saw a tip on CG for anybody watching, but I guess lumber's tipping back down again. So rebid all your lumber prices if you haven't in the last week or two.
Yep, definitely.
I know I'm actually excited about that because I had heard that as well, and we're getting ready to get the lumber package ordered for the 32 units. So I'm like, oh, thank God. Thank God.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to do mud and hay here real soon.
Yeah, go all block or something. It's
right. Oh man. Okay, so tell me, I gotta hear about this about Lowe's. How are you doing this? What's going on here?
All right, so Lowe's. So I've always been a Home Depot guy. To be straight, for a long time, Home Depot is what I was used to. When I moved here to Florida, there's not that many Home Depots around here. For whatever reason, there's like twice as many Lowe's.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why, but there's like way more Lowe's around here.
I think there's twice as many Home Depots and Lowe's everywhere else.
Yeah, I know. It's really weird. I'm not sure why. Again, there's not a lot of land to develop here, so Lowe's got in early, and Home Depot sort of had to take what was left.
Yeah, for sure.
Lowe's has, and Home Depot probably does too, but Lowe's has pretty ridiculously good incentive programs that they really just don't tell anybody about. And so, we happen to, we're the second largest buyer in our entire region. So that's from Northwest Florida up to Mobile, Alabama. We're the second largest buyer. And so I guess that drew attention from the Lowe's for pros, like the pro regional sales rep who does all those stores. So she reached out to us. She's like, I just want to, you know, sit down.
Notes, just so you know.
What's that?
I'm taking notes, just so you know.
Right on. Right on. So she's like, yeah, you know, you guys are buying a lot. I want to make sure you're happy. If there's anything we can get for you or do for you and whatever. I'm like, well, that's cool. I guess we can meet. So now we meet, you know, like once a month. But basically, she's like, look, you guys are spending a lot of money. You actually qualify for some of these programs that you're not taking advantage of. So the number one thing is the Lowe's MVP program. And that's just like you link your business credit cards, whether you have a Lowe's card. You might have to have a Lowe's card. But so we have a Lowe's card, but then we also link all of our business credit cards, all of my employees' credit cards, and my personal credit cards. I link them all to the Lowe's for Pros account. And that way, anytime we buy something, whether I buy it for my personal use, if our business buys it, it all goes towards our, like, what they call qualifying spend. And so, you know, for every dollar you spend, there's a certain amount you get back. And then there's tiers to it. So like right now we're in the diamond. I want to say it's diamond. And then like the next level up, like another, once I spent $150,000, you go up to titanium or something like that.
And how much are you spending on average per month? Like, would you just, if you were just to kind of guesstimate it?
I want to say we spend somewhere around like 40 or 50 grand a month.
Okay.
At Lowe's. And so it just depends on, you know, obviously the more you spend there, and what they're doing is incentivizing us to spend more money with them, right? Because they want us to, obviously they want to spend more money there.
Yeah.
So the MVP program gives you money back. And if you go into the app, you can see like how much you've spent, and it'll show you like how much you automatically get. Like you can click on it. It'll be like, yeah, redeem. So like in Lowe's, maybe a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago now, we went and had a big cabinet order and all kinds of stuff. And it was like $3 grand worth of stuff. We walked out of there paying $12 because we just used up some of the points and junk that we, you know, accumulated. So all that kind of adds up, right? There's a couple other things like when if you're ever buying more than $1,500 worth of product, go in there and make sure, but when you're checking out, ask them to do a VSP. It used to be called QSP, but now it's called VSP. That's Volume Savings Program. You guys do that?
We do that.
Yeah, I do that too.
So yeah, that's just a simple, like, it's easy to ask them before you check out, tell them that's what you want to do, and they'll ring you up, and then it goes to corporate and it bounces back it spits out a discount, right? And for us, that's usually around like 13% average. Anywhere from 10 to 15% average, but for us, it's like around 13 most of the time.
Right.
So shoot, I mean, you're saving, you know, a chunk of money right there. That's usually, you know, it could be $150, $200, $300 just on the trip. And then if you're like a big spender, this is like a new program they enrolled us in that I never heard of. It's called Collaborative Concepts. And basically they, you know, individual vendors are basically offering to give you money back based on how much you're spending on their product. And so we don't think about it, you know, we don't like go in specifically looking for any, you know, any particular, you know, brand or anything like that. We just,
if you're buying Hampton Bay fans or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Samsung appliances, whatever it is, right? So we're just buying what we need. And then we find out later that, you know, okay, you're going to get this much back. So we've already got, you know, $10,000 or $11,000 in checks that, you know, so like our first one, I think was like $3,500. I just got like a $7,400 check in the mail last week. And, you know, basically they're giving you back, you know, something like maybe 5% of your total spend on whatever's qualifying. And so, you know, and that's the beginning of the year, right? So I'm figuring by the end of the year, we're probably going to look at maybe 25 grand back. And
then is that coming from Lowe's or is that coming from these other companies?
It comes from another company. The check said Collaborative Concepts on it, but they work with Lowe's. I don't know how, honestly, I couldn't tell you how it all works. I just know, you know, if you're a big vendor, if you're a rehabber or contractor or something like that, you definitely need to talk to your local, you know, sales rep, your pro sales rep. And if you have to, you might, like, it might be one of those things where you just don't take no for an answer. And you know, because a lot of people they probably don't know about it. And you need to go, talk to the actual regional sales rep if necessary, because that's who set us up on it. They do a lot of
an extra $3 to $5 grand that just pops up in the mail with no.
I know.
It just pops in the mail. Never hurts anybody.
Yeah, I'll take that all day.
Right. So, it's a no-brainer. I mean, why wouldn't? I mean, it's money we're spending anyway, so why not get enrolled in the program?
Exactly.
Doesn't cost me anything. We don't do any work. You know what I mean? It's just money shows up. So
you said recommend meeting with the Lowe's regional sales rep. Ask about the MVP program. Get a Lowe's card, obviously. Ask about Lowe's for pros, and then also collaborative concepts.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, those are the main things. There's a couple other little ones, but I'm not. There's some other really complicated ones available.
Yeah.
Since there's one, I'll really briefly touch on it, but there's one where if you spend 20 grand or more on one job, what they'll do is you can go in there and basically like run up a list of everything you think you're going to need for that job. And you don't have to pay for it all right away, but it's like if it's 20 grand or more in value, they'll give you something like 25 to 30% off, maybe even more. And then what you do is when you go in, and this is why it's complicated, but when you go in or you send your contractor in to purchase the material, you have that sheet with you and say, hey, this is on that sheet. And so as you purchase stuff off that sheet, discounted down, 25,
30% off of it.
Yeah. Wow. So that one's complicated. It's not one that we've really spent a lot of time with doing yet, but we're going to test it, if it's worth doing.
Heck yeah. So then when you have your the guys that work for you, when they go in, your crew, when they go into the Lowe's store, they just give them your account number and then it all just adds up to that account.
So they just so we use like Chase Business, Chase Inc. cards. So they all have a company credit card. And whenever they purchase on that card, it automatically sets that money into the qualifying spend. And then the other thing that does is it helps me track, what purchases are for which jobs, because they ask for a PO number, right? So all that stuff gets logged and tracked. Our Lowe's MVP and Lowe's for Pros, app.
Sure. Heck yeah. That's really cool.
It's a simple thing, but I mean, if you're a big spender, it could save you, 15, 25 grand a year.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's amazing. That's super cool. And like I said, that's stuff that I had no idea about. Chris, did you have any idea that you could?
I just knew about the QSP. I use Lowe's a lot, and I get the QSP, and I think my number is right there. It's like 13 or 14%, but I knew nothing about like the. And I just did a rehab, and I know I spent on this one in Fort Lauderdale. I spent 30. Everybody thinks you can just go in and get the white shakers, but this is a custom house, and I custom ordered all the cabinets, the garage cabinets, the laundry room cabinets, the bar cabinets. I think I spent 30 grand on cabinets. And then most people don't know, you can go to high-end appliance stores, but you can get all those high-end appliances at Lowe's as well. And they'll give you, 12 to 13% off. I bet you I spent another 30 on appliances. So I spent a good chunk of money at Lowe's in the last few months.
What's the sale price on this home?
I'm not selling it. I'm parking. I'm gonna park there I'm staying for a little bit.
That one, okay, that one's sweet. That's the one that's on the water, right?
Yeah, that's the one on the water.
Oh, beautiful. That one's sick.
Hard to let that go.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I've always wanted to walk out my back door and get in a boat.
Yeah, absolutely. Mine's just a little pontoon. It's not quite the same. Mine goes like 7 miles an hour.
Hey, pontoon's a family man's boat. I got no problem with that.
This is true. How far are you guys from each other right now?
I'm in Fort Lauderdale, back to Arizona tomorrow, but yeah, we're probably 7 hours, right? Driving time?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, it's fun. I'm so far west in Florida that people hit me up and they nobody knows that I'm in the central time zone. I'm not in the eastern time zone. And people are like, hey, bro, I'm in Miami for the weekend. Let's grab lunch. I'm like, bro, I'm not driving 9 hours for lunch. Like, and so like, oh, dang, I didn't realize Florida's that big. I'm like, it's not that big. It's just long, you know. So
Right. Yeah, that's true.
we're
You
far
can
away.
drive across it. You can drive across the bottom half in like an hour and a half, 2 hours. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah, just don't. Yeah, not the top half though.
exactly.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Well, cool. Thanks for joining us. We like to just keep these short and sweet, 30 minutes, so people can watch them while they're hanging out or whatever. And like I said, if you have any tips, tricks that you want to learn about, put some comments below. We'll reach out to the right people, but we like to just keep bringing good content.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's good to see y'all.
Absolutely. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man.
We'll talk soon.